Hi, what's going on everyone? This is Giovanni, also known as CryptoJoe101 on Twitter. And today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different from the things that we usually speak about on my channel. As you all know, I'm a Cardano stake pool operator, and recently I've also started to get a little bit closer to the Cardano ecosystem. At the beginning of April, I enrolled and successfully was successfully accepted to the Cardano Plutus Pioneer program. And as you've seen in other videos, and there's going to be like a link somewhere here, you can see how I solved the homeworks for week number 2. Starting today, I will also be a little bit more active with regards to Catalyst. In fact, I have submitted my very first Catalyst proposal for Fund 5. Before proceeding with the details of the my proposal for Fund 5, I just want to spend like a couple of minutes speaking about myself so that you all have a better understanding of what's my background, who I am, and how I'm trying to contribute to the Cardano ecosystem and to make it successful and also easier for other younger and more junior developers to start to play with. So first of all, as I said, my name is Giovanni. I am a principal software engineer. I have 16 years of commercial experience. I've been mostly developing software in Java, and in the last 6 years in Scala. 6 years of which I've been working really closely to data scientists and build complex and non-complex machine learning algorithms and models, and we've put those algorithms in production, and my responsibility was to make these models highly scalable, and we're talking about 5 million plus users every single day. So without going too much into details, with this background I started to be more and more passionate about Cardano, and with my background I'm lucky enough to be able to start working and understanding Plutus, whose core language, you know, is Haskell, that is pure functional programming languages, quite different from Scala, but some concepts are very similar. And this gives me the opportunity of understanding and hopefully being a successful Haskell Plutus smart contracts developer. As I get more and more familiar with the environment, and speaking with other colleagues, also from different backgrounds. So for instance, I'm an engineer, software engineer, while there are other engineers I've been meeting throughout the last few months that have more like an operational DevOps approach. I quickly realized that there is a little area that is being overlooked into the decentralized world so far. And this is exactly the topic of my presentation. Sorry for the little blink, but the screen wasn't working. So here is my very first Cardano Catalyst proposal. So first of all, the umbrella project under this is going to be applied is the metadata challenge. The input-output company has released different areas to which apply, and this one I think very nicely fits the metadata challenge, because as I will explain very briefly, I'm going to leverage native assets and metadata to store some critical information in order to make things to work. So, excuse me, what I was talking about is that in the world of dApps and decentralized systems or APIs, I've seen and I've noticed that very often the authentication mechanism has been often overlooked, and we're still using into this industry the classic authentication mechanism. While this is completely fine, this also means that dApps that are using centralized authorities for authentication, literally entering username and password, if you know what I mean, this doesn't make dApps or decentralized systems really decentralized from the ground up, but they still have a little bit of a hangover of distributed but not decentralized solutions. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna try to fill this gap leveraging Cardano native mechanisms of native assets as well as metadata. So to capture with these two things the and implement authentication mechanism in order to make decentralized app completely decentralized from the ground up, so there is no dependency on a central authority. Why do we need this? It's very simple. As long as you have a centralized place for authentication, being it auth tool, like for instance with Google or GitHub, if one of those APIs or these systems goes down or gets hacked, all of a sudden authentication will not be available anymore, and users of a system could be locked out for an arbitrary amount of time. While if we manage to implement something that is blockchain friendly, and so that means decentralized friendly, there isn't, as usual, a unique centralized place, but there can be multiple independent authorities that can grant access to a specific resource to a class of users. So, of course, this is a very long project, but what I'm capturing here in this proposal is basically the first step to make this possible. So, just going very quickly through the proposal, the title is Blockchain Authentication Mechanism. The problem statement is that in order to ensure true decentralization to services and apps, a blockchain-friendly authentication mechanism should be ideated. Implemented decentralized solution is implement a decentralized authentication mechanism that will persist on-chain secrets and permissions based on metadata and native assets. My relevant experiences I briefly mentioned. I've been working into, I'm a principal software engineer and I've been working for 16 years. I have 16 years of commercial experience. I'm a stake pool operator, Tiger EasyOne. If you want to support me, please delegate to EasyOne. My stake pool runs on Raspberry Pis. I'm using kick-ass cloud solutions like Kubernetes on Raspberry Pis. This is like possibly the only one stake pool around who's doing that, but if you want to support me, feel free to delegate. EasyOne, that's the name of my ticker. I'm a DevOps advocate, and as I just mentioned, I Kubernetes fan. Anyway, there is a little bit of information available on this GitLab repositories. There is also a nice diagram that I'll show you in a minute. But let's also dive in on. I explained what is the problem that I want to solve. I also want to give a couple of examples of why and how useful this thing could turn out to be. So I don't know if you're familiar, I'm pretty sure you're all familiar with Yoroi. I don't know if many of you are Yoroi users, but I don't know if you have also noticed that whenever there is like an epoch change, so at the end of the 5th day of an epoch, whenever there is a crossing from one epoch to the other, Yoroi becomes very, very sluggish, inconsistent, information disappear, etc, etc, etc. And this happens for a number of minutes, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes. Just pinged by a delegator of mine, he said that this morning he still wasn't able to see his rewards. So first of all, funds, tokens are safe. This is just like a little bit of a glitch, a little bit of delay due to the fact that the backend that Yoroi uses is at the moment not perfectly scalable. So it means that the average use throughout the day is perfectly fine, but whenever like it hits 9:44 UTC and there is a cross epoch, everyone goes to check their rewards. And because there is additional load on the Cardano nodes and additional load on the backend of Yoroi, CPUs, they skyrocket, and then information on the Yoroi wallet, they don't get updated in real time. So this is a well-known issue. Emurgo is working on it, but they are not planning, it's my understanding that they are not planning to solve it immediately, as this requires additional complexity to be brought in. It's a very long conversation. I will not get into this, but the problem is this one, is that at the moment on Cardano and on many, many blockchains, there isn't a trusted layer and a decentralized layer of blockchain APIs that allow consolidated developers or companies and new developers to quickly start interact with the blockchain. And if you want to do so, you have to spin and launch a huge amount of services locally on your working laptop or into the cloud. And this is first complex, second costly. So if, for instance, I am a young developer that is just like starting to get familiar with Cardano, there is a huge learning curve and very big wall I will have to climb even before starting to implement code. And this is basically to build the infrastructure required to start to talk to the blockchain. You will need a wallet, you will need a Cardano node, you will need PostgreSQL, that is a relational database, you will need an API on top of this, and that is the so-called Cardano API GraphQL, and many other systems just to start to interact with the blockchain. So why don't we leave this specific problem to domain experts? Like it could be DevOps people, like stake pool operators. And so what Gimba Labs has done, this is a company I'm in contact with, they have developed this software called Dandelion, that is basically a nice packaged solution that you can just deploy into the cloud and you maintain. It's a little bit costly to run, but this basically gives you access, full access to the Cardano blockchain. Now, as I just mentioned, this is costly. How can I, as an operator, stake pool operator, for instance, make a little bit of money off of it, but at the same time help new developers to quickly get on board? So I need to basically give an authentication mechanism so that I can, for instance, monetize this API and say, I'll give a free tier to new developers, so 1,000 API calls or 1,000 token minted per month, but I also want to monetize with third party. So for instance, if Emurgo, let's say, just to make an example, has a scalability issue and wants to buy, I don't know, 1 million API calls on my API, just when the epoch changes, they can diverge and redirect a little bit of the traffic on my stack, so they can continue to offer the same quality of services to their users. So, well, as I just mentioned, what we need is an authentication authorization mechanism. We could go back and leverage the usual authentication mechanism, but we want to be decentralized from the ground up. So here is where my proposal comes in. There are 3 nice examples here. I'm going to be linking these proposals down into the description so you can have a nice read, but this is basically what I want to try to resolve. Just very briefly, I'm going to be showing this onto this graphic, onto this diagram. The system, the process works in 2 different steps. The first one is the registration. So whoever, like a custom users, like it could be like me and you, or an organization, could basically register or sign up on a system, and this can be any system. So what I'm providing here is just like an authentication mechanism. The underlying service that is offered can be anything. In this case, I'm just talking about Dandelion because this is the product that actually inspired this solution. So if I am a stake pool operator, I'm running Dandelion with this very nice little layer of authentication mechanism. Let's say that in here I just mentioned like Paula, that is a young developer, says I want to start to use the API and I want to use Giovanni's mine Dandelion stack. How can I do this in a friendly way? So the first thing that she has to do is to register on my instance of Dandelion, and this basically is gonna create the first transaction where if she wanna apply for the free tier, she sends 0 money but just pays for the transaction, and she says, I wanna start using your system. The system processes the request and then emits, and this is the very nice first step. It emits a native assets that is going to be that is a token that is like a permission to use Dandelion. Alongside with the token, a number of metadata will be attached to this token, and this metadata will describe the tier of service that Paula just subscribed for. So if she's a brand new developer, the tier will be just like the free tier, and this will come with the number of tokens, will come with the number of API calls per month or per day or per second, whichever, and the number of systems, whether or not it's going to be read and write, and the number of permissions. And this token will be delivered to her wallet. And now the token, along with the metadata, will basically describe the type of services that she's going to get as part of the registration. The second step is basically the actual authentication mechanism. I will not go into too many details because I guess that the majority of you will not have, I don't want to bother you with technical details, but she will leverage the information contained into this token in order to perform off-chain authentication mechanisms. So this token will also contain the secret that she will have to use and embed into her API calls in order to access resources on the Dandelion or whichever other service has been provided. And again, this is gonna basically use what's it called, native assets and metadata. Of course, if you want to know more about this, please check the GitLab repository below, or the ideas Cardano idea scale proposal. If you have any question, please comment. Or I'm gonna be tweeting this one as well. So add your question if you're coming here from Twitter. Feel free to add questions on Twitter as well, or straight away into the comments below. There are still a couple of days to make questions, to ask questions, and to refine my proposal. So if you have any doubt, whatever, just let me know. Reach out on Twitter, CryptoJoe101, or into the comments of the video below. I'll try to answer as quick as possible and enrich this proposal. Yeah, the amount of work should be about a month and a half. I'm gonna be working on this part-time as I still have a job. So I expect this to be ready in a couple of months' time, and a couple of months' time should be like available for testing, and maybe a little bit after will be available for production use. So thank you very much. Just a brief recap. My name is Giovanni. I'm a principal software engineer. I'm also stakeable operator. If you like this proposal, please consider voting it. Or if you're not clear what's going on and you want to know more, please ask questions. I would love to see this one funded so that I can start actually to get my hands really dirty with Cardano and to start to help contributing and grow the environment and the platform and the adoption, most importantly. I'm Cardano stake pool operator. The ticker of my pool is EZ1. If you want to support me, please delegate it to my stake pool. It's growing every day. I would love to finally reach the 1 million mark again after my way left, but that's fine. So thank you very much, and I'll see you around. Bye!